That's true. And the cookies have just been a convenient metaphor for third-party tracking of individuals, right? So, like I said earlier, I differentiate third-party from first-party because New York Times, being the first party that you're interacting with, if they set a cookie, that's fine because the humans know they're interacting with New York Times, right? So they would expect that, and if asked, they would give consent. What they don't know is all those third-party ad tech companies, right? A lot of the names are things like Crux Digital or Live Ramp or whatever, Gum Gum or whatever. So they would never have even heard of these ad tech companies before. So even if those ad tech companies ask them for consent, the human's probably not going to give them consent, right? Because they don't know who they are and they don't actually know where the data goes after it gets collected. Okay. So cookies are just a convenient way of talking about third-party data collection that is privacy invasive. There's other things that is being done that consumers don't know about, right? So if you download an app onto your mobile device, not only do they get your device ID, but if you also grant them GPS access, right? So most people, if they're using a sports tracking or fitness tracking app, they would give them GPS access because they want to record their runs, right? So in that case, the app has access to your precise location through GPS. And most people may not have thought through the implications, the privacy implications of that. But you might remember a few years back, the location of private or secret military bases was leaked because people were using a fitness app while working out on base, right? And also the identity of a lot of soldiers, military personnel were leaked because of their location and the activities that they were doing, right? So in those cases, you can think of that as unintended consequences or privacy leakage that they didn't know would happen, right? They thought they were just using a fitness app. Okay? So that's why we need to be more sensitive about it, and more people need to be educated about those privacy implications of tracking by third parties, right? Whether it's the app itself or all the other trackers that are added into the apps themselves or into the ads that run in the apps, right? So there's layers upon layers, right? Those third party trackers can be added into the ads themselves. Those are called ad tags. And some can serve a legitimate purpose, like detecting the viewability of the ad or detecting the fraud or IVT, invalid traffic. But yet that data is being collected and no one knows where that data goes, or at least there's no regulatory controls over that just yet, right? So again, it's important for these regulations to be enforced so that we can actually start stemming the tide of all that data going to other places, right? And just imagine if a foreign entity or a nation state or a terrorist group got access to that kind of data, right? There's a lot of other bad stuff that can happen. So one of the moves that Apple is making is it's really cracking down on not only third-party cookies, right? They've been cracking down on third-party cookies using their Safari browser for many years now. But they're now also cracking down on the availability of the IP address of the device as well as the device ID. Because once the bad guys get access to those things, they could also use it for even more nefarious purposes, right? So whether it's Apple doing that or Google planning to do that with the Chrome browser, right? The Chrome browser may follow in the footsteps of Safari, where they're deleting third-party cookies after each session, and or making the IP address less available to third parties, right? So all of those are moves in the right direction when it comes to protecting the privacy of users who really don't understand this well enough to protect their own privacy.